Sure. Well, excited to have a full house here. We have some familiar faces here. It was nice to see you guys. We can go ahead and great. We have everything situated. Okay, as always, thank you guys for coming on. Today's topic that we're going to be touching on our weekly coaching call will be centered around lead generation. And obviously, whether we do land or houses, lead generating is pretty much like the bread and butter of how we get deals closed, right? So, because this is our second call of the year, I want to kind of have a discussion about, for those of you who are actively, in the business, what are some of the lead gen strategies that you were doing last year that worked well, and what are some of the tweaks that you're going to do, because I think it'll be good to have an open discussion around what works and what doesn't work and what can we improve on when it comes to lead generating. Especially if a lot of us have goals this year to, get X amount of deals done, lead generation needs to be at the foundation of that. So let's see what Paul popped it out for us. Paul said calling brokers for on-market listing and commercial deals. Okay. Paul, what market do you operate in?
I do nationwide.
Oh, okay, sweet. Okay. Do you do land or houses?
Commercials, like multifamily, that sort of thing.
Gotcha. Okay, okay, sweet. Calling brokers for on market. And is that like what do you just build a relationship so that you can have them send you deals and stuff like
Exactly.
that?
Yep.
Sweet. Okay. Awesome. That's great. That's actually a really good, that's something that I'm going to start implementing as well too. I primarily just focus on land, but one of the lead gen strategies that I'm going to be heavily focused on is agents, even though some of them don't answer the phone as much as we would like them to. I don't know if you deal with that on the
Yep.
commercial
Oh
side.
yeah.
Gotcha. Sweet. Yeah. And then that's also a good way to, if you think about it, that kind of like decreases your marketing budget per se because you're just relying on inbound leads. So that's actually a good strategy there. Um, Kian, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Hi, Francisco. Yeah, Keon is right. That's right. I like to call it
Kian.
Kia when an N at the end. Can you hear me all
Nice.
right?
Yes, sir. I can.
Good, thank you. Yeah, glad to be here with the audience. Fantastic people. Some familiar faces. All right, so answering your question.
Mm-hmm.
I am after nationwide minus Alaska and Hawaii. I do not go
Okay.
into Alaska and Hawaii at all. I lived in California most of my life, working for other people. I'm very familiar with Southern California market, Northern California market, the cities of Los Angeles and suburbs, and San Francisco and suburbs. Um, but nonetheless, I do concentrate less on California because I have learned, and I'm rather new here, throughout my training and participation, that those are pretty difficult markets, and they are. I have actually uh, experienced that myself. These days, I tend to be more optimistic looking into ways and means of using AI. It's the newest and the greatest thing, right? Coming in these days.
Mm-hmm.
And so see how I could set that up organically to benefit from or with a very low fee structure. Because as you know, when new things start, people just absolutely go out with the prices and plans. And so I'm very careful to control the budget I have. Mostly I am in Florida and the southern states, Midwestern states. I look into these states. Um, and I have a criteria and I have a filter set with Prexy. And Prexy is where I go most of the time to draw my leads. And I do also work through Facebook with some off-market leads, but they really haven't turned out to be the greatest leads I've received so far, and it's been quite difficult. Just to let you know, but I am going to filter and set up my own social media, especially starting with Facebook, and
Okay.
then I'm going to go into other means and ways of working social media here. Thank you.
Nice. Sweet. Great input on that as well too. To your point about AI, I would also kind of imply, I mean, AI is kind of like the new fad that you can't get on social media without seeing something about AI, whether it's a post or whether it's an ad. So I would definitely recommend if you want to use social media as a strategy and implement AI, just think about all of like the marketing channels that you will have leads funneling in through, and then use AI to kind of enhance the nurturing process. Some people, build amazing things with AI, but I would just make sure you still have like that humanistic rapport building function, if that makes sense. Don't make everything too automated, if that's, what you were asking for. But depending on what tech stack and what softwares and tools that you use, you can pretty much, use AI to kind of streamline that process and then still have that human touch point. So social media would be a great. Me personally, I'm trying to lean more into more inbound lead marketing. That's why I love what Paul mentioned with reaching out to agents, because I think the beauty about that or any social media lead channel that brings in leads is you want to leverage people that are one already doing the work to market, cold call, the whole nine yards. And then you also want to deal with more contract ready situations, right? And then finding a system to kind of like streamline that is the bread and butter. Because I speak to a lot of people, especially with lead mining, where they want the front end to be automated, but you cannot automate a process that you already don't have written out. And I think that's an important part to kind of keep in mind as well, too. So thank you for that feedback here. Anybody else wants to share? Any things that they're struggling with, anything that they need help with, or want to share anything with the group that's been working well for the lead gen side?
Hey, Pastor, not on the lead gen side, but I have a general question.
Okay. What's
The
up?
funding, the funding grow meeting that we had last week, is that replay available?
Yes, let me actually go ahead and get that for you and put it in the chat. Let me make sure this is it. And then I'll go ahead and put it in the chat right here so that way you can access it. And then anybody else, if they want to catch last week's meeting that we did with Fund and Growth, that would be in the chat as well too for you.
Okay.
Wait, I want to let me know if you see it in the chat, Troy.
I won't be able to see it right now. I'm mobile, so I can't grab it.
Okay. I'll go ahead and send it to you on Mighty Networks too. Just send me a DM
Oh,
and I'll send it over to you.
all right, thanks.
No problem. Ty said, looking into getting more into PPC leads and sending mailers, that is also pretty a good lead source as well too. PPC can get a little bit of expensive, Ty, so just make sure you have some good, I guess PPC providers. I don't know if anybody else in the group has any recommendations for that. Um, but mailers, I've heard a lot of people have good things on mailers. I personally don't have the patience for mailers, but I've heard that it's good, gotten very good strategies, very good results with that strategy. Jalen said, "What is PPC pay per click?" Jalen, it's like online ads pretty much. Dexter, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, San Francisco? In
What's going
terms
on?
of yeah, everything good, brother. Everything good, man. In
Yes,
terms
sir.
of lead gen, I mean, obviously the two obvious that work the well or work the best for me is text and calling, right? But I think
Hmm.
what I think you've discussed it a couple times and a couple other people in terms of texting that is one lead gen avenue, but how you approach it after you send your initial text is vitally important. I'm just starting to understand that, meaning that that's the initial touch. And then from
Hmm.
there, once you get a response, any type of response, what's the offer, things of that nature, immediately having like sort of like a SOP, right? Operating procedures in terms of, okay, well, I'm gonna try to get on the phone with them. Well, if I don't get on the phone with them, I'm gonna try to text them back and things of that nature. So, yes, I use texting, but I'm really starting to understand the concept and grasp the fact that I have to nurture those leads a little differently rather than just, waiting for a response or just texting them back immediately.
Yeah, and I think also coming from that wheelhouse as well too, is that if you and now if you are texting, whether you're delegating the texting or whether you're doing the texting yourself, I will always recommend to kind of like immediately try to get on the phone with them, especially once they, define some type of interest or, they showcase some type of interest. Because I think a couple weeks ago we did a hot seat session. I don't know if you were in that call or in the
Yeah,
group with
I
these
heard it.
folks. And a lot of the recurrent themes was people were doing all of the right things when it comes to like uploading the list, importing them, skip tracing, the whole nine yards. But then when they would get messages, they would just kind of like treat the leads as of like, I don't know, like a commodity. They'll get to it when they feel like it, you know what I mean? So with any lead gen strategy, no matter which one you decide to pick, speed to lead is going to be like very, very vital,
Absolutely.
whether you're texting, PPC, mailers, reaching out to agents, the time that it takes for you to underwrite and even have an initial conversation with the lead matters more than the lead channel itself. Because your
Correct.
lead generation channel is only going to be based on a couple of factors, whether it's your budget and then whether it's your time and then your access to X amount of resources. You know what I mean?
I agree
Um,
100%.
yeah, so it's okay if you can't not you if you can't necessarily, budget for like the expensive lead gen that has like the quality leads because we all at the end of the day want leads that are ready to go, right?
Yep.
But the reality of the situation is that there are tiers to lead generation, right? So the lowest barrier to entry is cold calling and SMS. Everyone can have access to that. You know what I mean? You
Agreed.
just have to be mindful of that. You got to sort through a lot of, tire kickers, a lot of negative comments or, the FUs, the whole nine yards. And
Yeah.
then you got to be super fast on getting to the ones that are actually serious about moving forward as well, too. And then build up your strategy from there. And then did I ever show you guys kind of like SOP setup or like a workflow that I have set up for what we do
SMS,
for how
specifically SMS, or
just really just handle how we handle like the lead process itself.
I would love to see that. If you did, I don't quite remember, but
Okay, let me go ahead and let me get two of these SOPs up and then I'll show you guys in just a second. And this is also, and this can work with any lead gen strategy for you guys if you, just so you guys know. So let me go ahead and open this up real quick for you guys. And then you got feel free to mimic this or, create it off your own. This isn't anything, proprietary. This is just my thought pattern on how we get everything situated. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So really the way I do it on mines, let me see if I could zoom in. Can I zoom in? Hold on. Let me see if I could zoom in. Why can't I zoom in? Oh, I'll put it on another screen. Give me 1 second. All right, perfect. Put it up on this screen. All right, can you see it? Uh,
Yes.
where did it go? There we go. All right. So, for example, this is one of the ones that we use, or kind of like the SOP processes that we use. when it goes to building out kind of like our sales funnel. So there's multiple ways leads can come in, but this is how we funnel it into the system. So whenever we get a lead from lead mining pros, they either fill out a form or they send it over to us from their call tools. Okay. And then once it goes ahead and gets into our CRM, it sends them like an initial messages to the actual lead itself. And then from there, that's when conditional logic comes into play. So whenever you're doing your lead generation strategy, you need to know what you're going to do when you have a hot lead come in, whenever you identify, hey, what's a warm lead, and then obviously what might not be a prospering lead or a dead lead per se. And then you want to ask yourself, what criteria do you use to identify what a hot lead is to you? It may be different for everybody else on this call. To me, a hot lead will be at anyone that is interested in selling and is anywhere between 10 to 20 grand of where I need them to be as far as like an acquisition price. There are always going to be hot leads that are ready to go right now, but you still got to negotiate with them. They may not always be at the price that you need them to be, but they're still ready to go right now. And then you also need to define, okay, what do I do when I identify a warm lead and then go from there. So you could see it immediately when we get a hot lead, my go-to is get on the phone with them and try to negotiate an offer. Obviously, send them a contract, open escrow, close the deal. At each of these stages, you're going to have, sub tasks that you need to do, and it's going to look different for everybody, right? And then same thing with warm and follow-up lead, which is once you identify a warm and follow-up lead, you schedule a follow-up, put them into a drip campaign, have them follow up and see if anything changes. And then of course you have a dead lead. If they're a dead lead, you just, put them in as a DNC, right? But these are the three major decisions when it comes to identifying which route you're going to go with the leads. Does this make sense? If you're delayed in most people, the reason why they get delayed on getting to the hot leads is because they don't memorize the steps to do after a hot lead comes in, right? And the best thing to do with the hot leads is just get on the phone and talk to them. That's the best thing that you can do. And then if you want to get a little bit granular, this is just the stuff that I do. And then it's just literally you have all of your tools, and then you want to put everything in a step-by-step format on what to do with the leads when you have them. And this is also going to be super essential to have because if you don't know what to do when a hot lead comes in, that's when that speed to lead kind of gets a little bit more delayed. And then now you're having trouble figuring out, what I do. You're dealing with overwhelmness and stuff like that. And then you just put everything out in clear step-by-step format. And then you also got to know, pardon me, your strategy very, very well too. What are you offering to the seller? What's your exit strategies? Things of that nature. And I think majority of us wholesale on this call, right? Let's see, I'm gonna make sure. Just want to look at the chat real quick. Can you talk about best practices for follow-up? Harry, normally best practices for follow-up is I will try to gauge it on the conversation that you've had with the particular individual. So like if they say, hey, follow up with me in, 2 months, I'm probably going to follow up with them before that. And then I just use my follow-up practices is just based on what the conversation I have with the seller.
I was talking about calls to brokers who you don't get in touch with, because typically out of 10 brokers, you'll be lucky if you talk to half of them.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
you know, some people say don't leave a message the first time. Some people say leave a message the next day. Some people say follow up with email. Um, what best practices would you recommend for getting in touch for the initial call to connect with brokers?
Paul, you want to unmute yourself and give any feedback on that?
Sure. So when you're Harry, your question is
The
like
initial
how,
call to the broker,
yeah,
if you don't get in touch with them, do you leave a message? Do you just call back the next day? Do you
yeah,
follow up with email?
leave a message for sure. And then the next, if they repeatedly don't answer your phone, I do things extreme like, hey, have you given up on selling this property?
That's good. I like that.
Oh
Um,
man, you took the words out of my mouth, Paul. Go ahead.
oh yeah,
There
well
you
yeah,
go. Let
yeah,
them
that's it.
cook.
Yeah. So give them two or three, like one or two times because perhaps they are busy, something's going on. But then if they haven't called you back in 3 or 4 days, like their business is to answer the phone. If they're not, then give them a reason to call you back. And a lot of times you'll get a call back immediately when you leave that message.
Okay, good. I like that.
There you go.
Can I just piggyback off of that? That was excellent, Paul. And the reason why I said that because I use the same exact strategy. It's
Huh.
sort of like a psychological thing because nobody likes to be a quitter.
Yep.
So if you sort of call people out and say, hey, I use that a lot with sellers. Like, hey, have you given up on selling this one right here? And you'll be surprised the amount of responses you get. So absolutely, 100%. That's perfect, Bob. Paul.
There. Troy, go ahead.
Yeah, just speaking to the leads that you had coming in, say they're coming in from an outside source, because I'm having this right now. How do you integrate that into your CRM if it's coming from outside? Like, do you manually enter it and then put it into a workflow?
What outside lead source do you have coming have it coming into or coming
So
from?
like
I'm sorry.
I've been doing cold calling with another platform. I haven't integrated that cold calling into Flow Fusion yet. So right now I'm
Hmm.
working off a spreadsheet. Once I integrate it, I'm hoping that it would automatically be able to work. But for right now, if I want to manually put that in and start that in and put that in my workflow, um, what do I have to do? Because I saw you
Okay.
had just now like that look like a different tree for the integration for the automation.
Yeah. So there's a couple things. So depending, I don't know who you use for like doing the cold calling and stuff like that, right? But for example, one of the most popular dialers out there is Mojo. Are you guys familiar with Mojo? Drop a one in the chat if you're familiar with Mojo. Okay, Steven's familiar with it. Okay, great. So if you're using something like Mojo, you will need Mojo and Zapier. Okay. So if you're doing this yourself or you're having a VA call for you using whatever dialer, what you can do, let me show you an example of this on my other screen. All right, can you guys see my screen? What you'll do is the way this automation will work is whenever you got a hot lead in a dialer, it doesn't matter what dialer it is. If you get a hot lead into a dialer, you can automatically trigger that to send or create a contact inside of your CRM. Do you see what I'm showing you here? So you'll just take the information. The way this works is whenever someone press hot lead in a dialer, it sends all of the info, first name, last name, the phone number, any information with the property. You can have it create a contact in your CRM automatically. Sure.
And is that going through the dialer specifically, or is Zapier making the connection?
Zapier is making the connection. Yep.
Got it.
Yep. And then if you do with lean mining, no matter and whatever GHL platform you have, lean mining can send the leads over to your CRM from their dialer automatically, regardless of what platform you have. Now, if you have a CRM that's not GHL, they can still send it to you. You just gonna need Zapier.
Got it.
Yep. So if you
And
want,
then
get with lean mining and they can set that up for you as well too.
okay, great. And one other question I had was regarding email. So similar to the way that we have our workflows for text blasts, is there a
Hmm.
way to create a similar workflow for emails in Flow Fusion?
Yes. Do you know what type of emails you want to send or?
So right now I'm doing one that I have planned for buyers.
Hmm.
So I'm going to start putting those into a workflow.
Bet. All right, let me give you an example. So it'll be the same thought process. The only thing is that you'll just add wait steps and an email step. So if I go over on mines and then I'll go ahead and create from scratch real quick. You can name your, the email if it's going to be for buyers. Um, buyers. You don't necessarily have to add a trigger, but then you see where it says recent actions, and then you want to press on send email, or you could search for it, send email. You'll fill everything out. You'll put in your from name, your email, lots for sale, and then you put in your message right here.
And I
You
could
know how to
tell it
use it. Go ahead.
I, I could tell her that message with the tags that would go in and grab like the address, the the name, first name, last name, the address, things like that, right?
Yep. So you'll use your custom values, you'll do contact, and then you'll
Got it.
put in the first name. And then if you wanted to put address, you use address. And then it will auto-populate all of the stuff that you have here or
Yeah.
have in the particular contact. And then of course you want to do a wait step after that. And then you'll just wait and then wait however many days. Wait. If you want to wait 1 day, if you want to wait 2 days, you just press two and then change minutes to days. And then if you wanted to send another email, you just send another email and then fill it out again and then write this email as a follow-up email to your first one. Does that make sense?
Got it. Yep.
Yeah. And then the
What's
only
the
thing you
name?
have, go ahead.
No, I just said, what's the name of this SOP in Flow Fusion so I could look for it on the help?
It should be just on their help. Let me go ahead and screenshot it. If you go click on here, you could just click on help library and it should take you to the help library from the drop down icon. And you could just put in email. And then they'll show you how to create emails and send emails. This is all the stuff that they have for emails.
Yeah.
And then
Cool.
they have videos on it as well too.
Awesome. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
No problem. All right. Oliver says, Lindsay, please review a message out there. Okay. Uh, Oliver, was that a question or was that to somebody else?
That was directed to Lindsay. I do apologize for the interruption. Thank you.
Gosh, no, you're good. Sweet. Anything else, guys? Jalen said, what are the main factors we are hitting when negotiating price with sellers? Jalen, you want to add some more context to that just so I know how to better answer your question. If you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, so hi everybody. When I was selling health insurance, right? The main
Hmm.
things we would be doing to negotiate as far as okay, to switch over are these are the policies within your health insurance policy that you're looking for. Your current one don't have this, etc. So when we're talking to a seller and they're like, okay, I want 80,000 for this land, and we're telling them, okay, well, if you look at how the price is going for this area in the next couple of years, the price is going to be decreasing, because whatever houses aren't selling. So if you really want to cash out now, it'd probably be best to sell now. Things of that nature. Like, well, what type of things can we be telling them? Like, okay, as an expert, I'm telling you these are the things that I'm considering when telling you this is a price you probably should sell for.
So that's a really good question because typically, and I think I've said this before to the group, I'm not a real big fan of scripts. So a lot of the stuff that I just have is regular conversation with sellers, you know? And what I like to frame it is how much urgency do you have around getting this particular problem solved? Because if
Okay.
they do want a higher price, that's perfectly fine, but the solution I'm bringing to the table is going to be a little bit differently. And if you want a higher price, that's typically going to come with a longer time frame because we either can go with the market and what the market is dictating, Mr. Seller, or
Mm,
if you want to kind of maximize the amount of money you can get, that's perfectly fine too. But as long as we assess these factors and you still want to go that route, this is a timetable I think it will take in order for us to get that price, right?
okay. So it
Because
sounds like we're more looking like, okay, when looking for sellers, more like let's find urgency instead of just finding people that, want to buy eventually type of thing.
correct. And this is again just my position that I take. I'm not saying that this is right or wrong than everybody, right?
Mm.
But what I observed is if a seller has their mind on the price, yes, we can negotiate with them, but at the end of the day, we need their agreement in order to move forward, right? So the way that I combat that is no matter what they tell me, as long as it's in a reasonable working range, my job is simply to find a solution for them, not necessarily to be like it's me versus you, Mr. Seller, because that's not a battle that we're going to win. There's no script or no book that you can win once the seller feels like it's you versus them,
All right. Okay. So we're on
right?
the same side of this as far as let me help you understand why this is the price I'm looking at, etc.
Correct. I take more of a consultation approach, right? Because if they want retail, then the solution is we need to list on the market, either get it with the realtor, get some type of listing agreement set up. And then as long as you know this is a timetable that it's going to take in order to get to the closing table and you're fine with that, that's fine, you know. But then,
I like.
but, but this goes for anybody. You want to just make sure that whatever you communicate to the seller, they don't perceive it as you're trying to go against them.
We're more consulting them. I like that.
Right. Because it doesn't matter if you want to sell it for low, I know how to get it sold for cheap.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not a problem. If you want to sell it higher and you think you can beat the market and you feel like there's someone out there that can give you the price that you're asking for, let me help you get that price and put it in front of as many eyeballs as I possibly can.
So we're more tending to the needs of the seller versus trying to get them to tend to our needs as far as the price.
Correct. That's just my approach. Because
I
for
like that.
example, if I need the seller to be at 50,000 in order to make the deal work for me, there's only so much that I could say to be like, Mr. Seller, this is why I need it at 50,000, especially if they don't have any urgency outside of wanting to sell or getting money.
Mm,
You know what I mean?
yeah. Thank you,
So
Francisco.
no problem. Dexter, you got another question?
No question. I want to add to that. I like that answer because it's almost like a teamwork approach. You see what I mean? Like we're
Hmm.
working together to get this done. And to understand, this is what helped me. I'm talking pretty much to myself, but basically, yes, we're negotiating, but I'm not trying to convince you, right? I'm uncovering motivation, right? I'm asking,
Correct.
open-ended questions to uncover that motivation, but I'm not in the business of trying to convince you. And I think one of the
Yeah.
things that helped me with that is, sales tactic is referring to a higher authority. Like we're on the same team. We're trying to get this deal done. And I got to talk to my finance manager, obviously. And if I get this number approved, then we can move forward. Or if I have bad news or maybe a reduction or something like that, then hey,
Yeah.
listen, I got an email today. I want to run it by you and see how you feel about it. And if I stay in that mindset, then the seller will feel like we're working together versus what I feel versus what you feel. You see what I mean?
Correct. Yep. And a lot of people sometimes they bring up to your point, Dexter, they bring up like the comp situation. I think that's like the worst thing that we could bring up to a seller is comps. Because every seller's mindset is my property is gold. It's better than all of my neighbors. It's better than every seller's property on this street. So
Yeah.
the minute you tell them, well, so and so sold for, $20,000 less, their ego is already
I
on
know, right?
10. So I do not recommend bringing up any comps because sometimes to your point, we have to do enough discovery to figure out what type of person are we dealing with. Are we dealing with an emotional based person that's coming up with a price based on, you know, thin air? Or are
Yes.
we dealing with the logical person that wants to get this done? And of course, everyone has a price, but if you really think about it, if somebody really wants to get something sold, regardless of what it is, property, car, whatever, everyone's going to have a price.
Right.
But the need of whatever need that needs to get met will determine how flexible that price is. Right.
Agree.
So, like, for example, I had a lead come in yesterday from an agent, and the agent has been trying to sell this property for 100 plus days, 120 days. And the seller's finally getting to the point now where they're ready to accept an offer that will actually get the price sold because they have X, Y, and Z going on in their personal life. So for the last 120 days, all of the people that were giving you the price that you needed to be at to get this sold, there wasn't enough pain for you to say yes. You had
Right.
time to hold on, you know? And sometimes that's what it boils down to, you know? Like there isn't anything that I wish we could cast spells and be like, sell me your property for what I want it for. But it just don't work like that. And sometimes we just have to wait for that pain to be great enough for them to be like, okay, let's get it done. You know what I mean?
Agree. 100%.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Anybody else?
Could we talk
Yes,
about
hi,
like,
Francisco.
oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, wait. Go ahead, Stephanie.
Not a question. Can you please give me 1 minute after the call, if you don't mind?
Can I give you what?
1 minute after the call?
Okay. Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. All right.
hmm Stephanie, you recently spoke with Derby last week, right? Is this the same Stephanie? I just want to make sure.
Yes, the same.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect.
Okay.
I got you. Go ahead, Jalen.
I just wanted to see like if there was anything anybody could suggest as far as I remember Derby telling us about like when you're talking to some people, it's cool just to send something extra as far as a gift, right? Like, oh, let me go ahead and send them a $20, gift card just to really show like interest and care. So like what are some things that are acceptable, not too over the board that'd be really good or has been working as far as getting people to reply when you're doing mailers and things of the sort.
I had someone recently suggest something that was so cool. I was so mad I didn't think about it. Gigi in our group, she mentioned that we had a lead that we were working in that came in from like a Facebook ad campaign, and the lady was from New York. And I had gave the lead to Joaquin, who was another member in our group. And Joaquin was also from New York. And he didn't even pick up on this. I didn't even know this. I don't know how many people from New York are here, but she had the idea of sending this lady a cheesecake because she was from Staten Island. And she was like, send her a cheesecake and a handwritten note about the property and following up. So like that's small examples of what you can do because apparently like people in Staten Island love cheesecake or people from New York love cheesecake. I don't know if that's how true that is, but just that gesture alone compared to let's just say if other people sent her regular mailers and then she got a mailer with the cheesecake, I guarantee you she would have called Joaquin back if he ended up doing that. Now, granted, you can't do that at scale for every single person, but you want to make sure that when you have meaningful conversations, I would say that would be worth the investment to do something like that. There's another guy who sends out cookies. They call him like the cookie closer. And I think he's in
Mm.
another land group as well too. So if you have meaningful conversations with someone, I think it's very advantageous to do something unique and out the box that can be like, whoa, I had no idea this stranger from the other side of the world was going to do this.
I don't know if I'll be able to send everybody cheesecake, but I'll try
Right.
to.
You can't do that for everybody. You're not going to be able to do it for everybody. But if you have a meaningful conversation with someone, I think it's super beneficial to send them something that's kind of like eye-catching. You know what I mean?
So probably
Yeah.
try to at least have some type of contact first before you start just sending stuff out, just to kind of
Oh
stay
yeah.
connected.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Hmm. Absolutely. Any other questions, guys?
I had one
Sweet.
posted for you. Did you want to go look at it?
Yes. Where did I miss it? Let me see.
No,
Oh,
no.
okay. Okay, I see it. It says in the system you use, what are you changing to improve response and lead generation? And what areas of market have you seen improvements in response? Self-storage, family. So, my particular marketing channel or my particular area of focus when it comes to real estate is just mainly land. So I only deal in the land space, primarily infield, but we're starting to incorporate a little bit more like larger parcel or larger acre parcels. But the main system that I'm using in lead generation is, and I actually took this from my fitness journey, right? Is being very analytical on weekly KPIs, right? And I think that's one of the main things that I'm changing just to kind of one, have a consistent environment of accountability, and then two, being able to see what a good week looks like, and then also what a bad weeks look like. Because as a leader, we want to be very like how I say it, very brutally honest with the leadership skills and the direction that you're taking your team and your organization, right? So if you see, especially this week, I started implementing. Let me show you. It's going to go look low now because we recently started implementing this, and this is what I got from a coaching session in one of the other mentor groups. So everything is low right now, but this is what I will share with you guys. So what I paid to build out in my CRM after speaking with like a performance coach. Can you guys see it? So
Yes.
basically, it's what we're targeting now, what we're specifically looking at to decipher wins is total leads. And then obviously you could see we have it broken down by year. This is a new year, so this is how much we've done so far. And then also by the month and the week and on a daily basis, as you can see right here. So our goal is to start having these numbers come up. So these numbers at the bottom for offers and contracts can start going up as well too, right? So when it speaks to lead gen, this week so far we generated 8 leads. And then this is kind of like our holy grail of how we're going to make decisions. If these numbers continue to be low on a weekly, monthly, and a daily basis, we're not going to get any contracts, right? If we're not getting generating any leads. And if we're generating leads and we're not sending any offers, we're not going to get any contracts. So all of these correlate with each other. Very simple, very, it's not too, of course, you can capture and measure everything. But what we choose to measure is the things that actually move the needle in our favor. And everybody KPIs are going to track differently. But to me, just the simple and easiest way to keep track of wins is how many leads did we get? How many offers did we get? So now this lets me know that we got 8 offers. If we got 8 leads, we got 8 offers that we need to get out before the end of the week in order to be able to get some type of traction into some contracts. And then if you click on it, you're able to see all of the leads that came in and then just go from there and then just make the offers from there. So that's one of the biggest changes that we're doing just to dial in more on kind of like our performance and then just go from there.
Thank you,
Jandea said,
Francisco.
can you, no problem. Jandea said, can you explain? And I'm sorry if my voice, I know you guys can probably hear it, but like I am struggling for my life over here with my raspy voice.
You good,
Hopefully
brother.
next week it'll be better. Jendea said, can you explain more in depth what the KPIs are? New student. So KPIs are what they refer to as key performance indicators. And the key performance indicators that I just choose to track are leads, offers, and contracts. And then there's many different metrics that you can follow or keep track of when you're running your real estate business. But the reason I chose to focus on those three is because those are key metrics that you can't necessarily fake, or those are metrics that are a byproduct of effective productivity. And let me explain something, right? So let's just say you have a VA calling for you 8 hours a day, and then they're generating two leads a day. Is those 8 hours being spent on effective productivity? Yes or no? Based on your own standards, right? So now if you're spending 8 hours a day and then the VA is giving you, let's just say 10 to 12 leads uh, a day, and then you tally that over a course of a week, are those 8 hours productive or non-productive? And then you have to take it a step further is, okay, if I'm being productive in generating leads, am I also being productive in converting those leads as well too? Because the question we will have to ask if someone generated 60 leads in a week and got no offers out, what are you doing to measure? What are you doing to qualify? Because if you have leads, we know that leads identify people that are interested in moving forward, right? So if you have leads and you're not getting offers out, what are you classifying as leads that are not giving you any offers? Because the more offers that you give, the more contracts, one of those contracts are going to eventually say, yes, I'll move forward and sign it. So that's my thought process on, why I choose to follow those key metrics. And yeah, that's basically it. Nothing fancy, nothing over the top and complex. But you just want to assess, your productivity in your generating leads is great, but converting leads are even better because the name of the game is out of 100 people, how many people can you get to say yes? And then by assessing your KPIs, you get to ask questions that allow you to make informed decisions. And I think the best analogy that I can use, fellas, we may need to help the ladies a little bit understand sports terminology, but hopefully everybody, this can be universal. If you're a basketball coach and one of your star players is Steph Curry and he's shooting up 30 shots a game, but he's only making two of them, are you keeping him in the game or you're taking him out? He put up 30
Bench
shots and he only, why would you bench him?
because we need someone in there that's going to be converting those shots. So we don't need you shooting all day and not making nothing. Let's rest you up and get someone that's going, be more efficient with their shots.
That's the equivalent of generating leads and not making no offers. Or that would be the equivalent of generating leads and not making any offers that lead to contracts. And that's just the reason why I boiled it down to how do you determine if you are hiring a VA, if you are hiring a lead generation company and stuff like that. And as great as Steph Curry is, if he's putting up 30 shots and only making two, I'm taking his ass out. Point blank period. He's getting out of the game. But he's doing what he's supposed to do, right? But you gotta make sure that you're productive in what you're doing, what you're supposed to do. Because if the 14th man on the bench he's not even getting an opportunity to shoot 30 shots a game, let alone get to that point. But the main thing that you want to kind of you identify is what are areas of opportunity of what are areas that we can maximize opportunity in. and you just want to enhance what's working well. Now, if Stephen Curry's putting up 30 shots and he's making 28 of them, we keeping him in the game. We don't want to take him out if he's making 28 out of 30, which most nights he is. But the point of KPIs is you want to make sure that what you're doing is working and giving you the results that you want. So that's the analogy that I use to kind of track KPIs and relate it to real estate.
You okay, coach?
Yeah, I'm dealing with a little bit of a cold, and I already went through like 7 water bottles already. So my voice is a little bit hoarse.
Make sure you get some rest, man. We need you.
No,
Yeah.
no problem. I
Yeah.
appreciate you guys being patient while I'm rasping over here.
You're doing great.
No problem. Any other questions before we wrap up? Sweet. So before you guys leave today, just so you guys know, since I know we're talking about lead generation, if you guys want to delegate your cold calling or your whether it's your SMS and then you want your leads to be sent over to your CRM, regardless of what CRM that is, get with Nick. He's going to be giving you guys a 20% bonus if you use this coupon code group coaching. Okay. So use this coupon code to get a 20% bonus on whatever you order at Lead Mining, whether that's cold calling, skip tracing, SMS, and then whatever you pay for, he gives you 20% more of that. And he's going to run a special offer for you guys, specifically for the Tuesday group coaching community. Okay.
Thank you, Coach Francisco.
No problem. Appreciate it, man. So we'll be back next week. Hopefully, I'll be back above ground, better with my voice fully back intact. But have a good rest of your week, guys, and then we'll be back here same time, same place,
We also take
and then we'll go from there. Okay?
Good job. Thanks, Francisco.
Hey, thank you,
No problem.
Francisco.
Glad you
Thanks.
guys
See
are
you
here.
guys next Tuesday.
Thanks, everybody.
Mhm.